Anyways everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Generations Thrilling 30s jhiaxus. So I thought to review this older figure because actually recently in Wave 2 there was a reveal of a new modern day interpretation of jhiaxus in the Voyager class size and Legacy. So I thought I'd of course review this old version, and then whenever I can I will get the new Legacy version and be able to compare them of course with their similarities and differences. And I'm actually really looking forward to getting the new version and comparing it to this one. So of course stay tuned for the review for that. I actually do have it ordered on a toy site, so I will hopefully be able to get that pretty soon and be able to review and of course compare it to this figure. Unfortunately I do not have the packaging because I've had this figure for quite a long time, but I actually still really do like this figure, and do let me know in the comment section down below if you have this figure, and of course by pictures and reviews of the Legacy Voyager jhiaxus. Which one do you like more, this version or the modern interpretation? Of course I will let you know my thoughts and opinions on which one is my favorite, of course, when I be able to get the other one in hand. But that's pretty much it for the beginning intro. Let's now get into this review. So here we have jhiaxus in his jet mode. Let's take a look at the details. So we're going to start at the very front where the cockpit is. So they really do have this nice kind of turquoise blue there for the cockpit, some black for the nose cone, of course some nice stripes of gray here at these sections, some more orange. Unfortunately my complaint here is this is actually the head, of course the back of the head, but you can actually see it in there. That does look kind of ugly in my opinion. That's really my only complaint for the jet mode. Getting to the wings, some more dark blackish gray. We have a nice Decepticon symbol there done in that gray as well. Some orange, some nice spikes for the wing. Of course the same detail is repeated on the other side. On the top we have this really huge kind of missile engine section, which is super cool. There is actually a whole spring-loaded feature which I can go over in a little bit. Getting back here, we have another fin piece on each side done in black. I really do like how they use this kind of transparent clear plastic for this back section. That actually looks pretty cool. So overall that looks really nice. On the bottom, of course, it cleans up quite nicely, but overall looks pretty good. So yeah, this jet looks super cool. Really, my only complaint is I wish there was like a panel to cover this section here. That does look kind of ugly in my opinion, but that's not really the worst thing. So now for features, of course, there is some landing gear. So if you just get your nail here, just flip this up just like that. And of course there is one at the front. Just flip this up and just like that. Unfortunately they're not actual wheels that roll. They're just sculpted to look like wheels, so you can actually have it propped up like that. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate really. I wish they rolled, but overall that's a pretty cool feature. So now getting to the missile feature. So how it works, of course there is a missile in each section. You really just push this forward and it will fire. Unfortunately I really can't show you because I don't want to lose the missile. They can actually launch very far, and on the table I could actually lose it forever, so I can't fire it, but you really just push these sections forward and it will fire, and I think that's a pretty cool feature. I'm really glad I didn't lose those two missiles, and I hope I don't ever. And now for weapon storage, he does come with two really cool machine guns. They're the exact same sculpt, really just done in this gray. I think they look pretty cool. Of course there's the ammo clip, the handle, barrel, and maybe a scope there. Overall that looks pretty cool. Of course there is a peg right here, and there is a port on the wing, and you're just really supposed to plug this into place, just to line that up, just like that. And unfortunately, sometimes they don't really stay connected, so you gotta be careful not to lose them or for them to fall off. So you just kind of carefully leave them there and don't bump the wings. And there we have the weapon storage and all the features shown. So that looks pretty cool with the jet fully armored up, in my opinion. So yeah, just really my only complaint is I wish the landing gear actually was landing gear that could roll. It really just helps it prop up, which does look pretty cool for pictures and poses of the jet. Let's now move into some comparisons. So unfortunately, I really don't have many Thrilling 30 figures, so I thought I'd just bring out some other Decepticon jets. So here is jhiaxus with Blackwing from Power of the Primes, which I will review very soon. Two pretty cool looking jets. In my opinion, this one's more of a slender jet. Of course, this one's more spread out. For a side view there, that's a little bit better. As you can see, they look pretty cool next to each other. And for one more jet comparison, here he is with Dreadwind, which I did review over on the channel. Looking pretty cool next to each other, as you can see from a front view. And that's pretty much it for comparisons. So overall, I think the jet is pretty cool. I do like the missile feature. Just do be careful when you fire it, because you could lose that missile forever. So just be careful of that. Landing gear is a pretty cool feature. Just unfortunately, it doesn't roll. I actually really do like how the machine guns can store. Just be careful. Unfortunately, the connection isn't the most secure. So that's pretty much it for the jet mode. Let's now get into transformation. So now let's get into transformation. We're going to start at the very front. You can fold up this whole nose cone section here. Then we can go back here to the legs. You can just untab these sections. As you can see, there's several slots and tabs there that just kind of go into each other. You can just unfold the legs just like this. It can kind of take some fiddling, just like that. And then what you're going to want to do is just bring these out. You can then bring out the heel spur. You can just get your nail in there, flatten out the foot, just like this. There we go. And then what you can do is rotate at the leg just like this, and there we go. And then we can start to kind of put everything together. We can then bring the hand out just like this. There we go. Just like that. And then you're going to want to bring this whole section down, which will of course pop out the head like that, which I thought was a pretty cool kind of morphing, transforming feature. You can then bring out this whole plane section to make really the chest. Then you can angle the wings down like this. And then, of course, for these huge missile sections, you can have these facing forward like he's about to fire, but I typically do angle these back because it does make him a little bit less top-heavy, and he can stand a little bit better. But if you want some crazy action pose, you can, of course, have them angling forward like he's about to fire at some Autobots. But that's pretty much it for transformation. It's actually pretty straightforward and simple. I do hope you had the best view possible to see all the steps. And here he is. He looks very, very cool. Let's now take a look at the details of the robot mode. So here we have jhiaxus in his robot mode. Let's take a look at the details. Of course, we're going to start at the very top with that really cool looking head sculpt. I think this is probably one of the main characteristics that it does share with the new modern day Legacy 1. This really cool kind of tube apparatus section on the chin. That looks super cool. We have some nice yellow for the eyes. Of course, some really sharp teeth done in white. Like the rest of the face, some gray, and of course, mainly orange on the rest of the face. And of course, the helmet section. That looks super, super cool. Some gray, of course, for these huge missile sections. Some more orange for the wings, mostly the chest. And of course, that same nice silverish blue for that section there. That looks pretty good. For the arms, mostly comprised of that orange and gray color, which does look pretty cool in my opinion. Getting down to the legs, mostly that dark gray, with some black at the knees, and of course more orange and more gray for the feet. Yeah, he's not, I would say, the most detailed figure. Really, it's just gray and orange, but I think it actually looks pretty cool in my opinion. It will definitely differ, of course, for the new jhiaxus. He has a lot of paint apps, lots of silver and wiring, and I'm really looking forward to getting that. So, of course, for accessories, he does come with those two machine guns, which do look pretty cool, and you can just plug these into his hands, just like that, and then he is definitely armored up and ready for battle. And if you wanted to just make things even more crazy, you could hinge this section up and have him super well equipped and ready for battle like that. So that would look pretty cool for some displays and action poses. But for me personally, I typically go for the more cleaner look with them angled back. But, of course, your own personal preference. And if you want to fire those missiles, it acts just the same as in the jet mode. You just push this little clear section here like that, and it will just fire forward. It does take a little bit of force, which I actually prefer, because older toys with the missile features I always had a problem with, because they would fire too easily, and, of course, you could lose the missile too easily. So I actually do like how sturdy and, of course, connected the missile is. You do not lose it. But that's pretty much it for details and accessories. Let's now get into articulation. So we're just going to take the weapons out of his hands, put those off to the side. So for the head, it can look up, down, of course, all the way around. For these wings, they're on a ball joint, so they can really just hinge kind of around. There is a hinge here, and of course a swivel here. Bend at the elbow. Very tight and secure. There we go. The hand can really move, and that's really due to transformation. Unfortunately, no waist rotation, but it can do the splits. It can kick that far forward, that far back. There is a knee bend, a swivel, and no ankle tilts. That's pretty much it for the articulation. It is slightly limited because, of course, there is no waist rotation, but that's really due to transformation. Unfortunately, they could not put one in because he does not have much chunk to him. He's actually a very slender figure, so there's really no area where you could put in a whole swivel joint. But overall, that looks pretty cool. Let's now get into some comparisons. We have a quick Decepticon comparison. Here we have Dreadwind, jhiaxus, and Blackwing. Three pretty cool figures, of course. These two are Power of the Primes, and he is from the Thrilling 30s line. Unfortunately, I don't really have any other Thrilling 30s figures to compare him with, so I just wanted to compare him with some other Decepticons that transform into some pretty cool looking jets, and it'll be pretty cool when I can compare the Thrilling 30s jhiaxus with the modern day Legacy one. So I think that's pretty much it for the robot mode. Let's now move into the final thoughts. Now let's get into the final thoughts for this Transformers Generations Thrilling 30s jhiaxus figure. So I think overall it's a pretty good figure. Starting in the robot mode, of course, good articulation. I would say my only complaint is unfortunately there is no waist swivel. That's really due to the transformation. Unfortunately, he has a very slender figure, so there's really no spot or space for a swivel in the waist. But overall, pretty good articulation, and the arms, of course, the head, the legs, pretty average for a deluxe size figure. No ankle pivot, but that's actually pretty typical and standard for a figure of this age. Really, ankle pivot was a very common thing when it started in the War for Cybertron trilogy, so to be expected that there is none. But overall, pretty good robot mode, excellently well detailed. I do like the two machine guns. They actually look pretty cool. I do like how you can hold them in both hands. I actually do really like the whole missile feature. Typically, I don't have it stored on his shoulders. I typically have it, of course, stored like this more on his back because it does make him a little top heavy if you have it angled too high up. You can shoot the missiles, which is pretty cool. I do really like how the missiles are very secure in there, so you do not lose them. Just be aware, of course, they do fire, so if you get this figure, do not, shoot it in a random space. Make sure you know where it will go so you can easily, of course, get it back and put it with the figure and not lose it. Transformation, of course, wise, it is pretty simple and easy. I actually haven't looked at this figure in several years, and I was easy and able to do it without even looking at the instructions or a video. It was pretty simple and straightforward. Jet mode, I think, actually looks pretty cool. I do really like how the giant two missile sections are right on top of the jet. It actually looks super cool and scary, and definitely he'd be pretty good in a fight with another Autobot like Jetfire in the sky, so you could easily shoot him down. I do like how you can store the machine guns on the wings in the jet mode. My only complaint, unfortunately, is they're not the best connection. Tends to, if you move the jet around too much or touch the wings, they will pop off. Of course, you can just pop them back on. Another complaint of mine is, unfortunately, on the top of the jet near the cockpit, you can see the back of jhiaxus's head, which is kind of ugly in my opinion. I wish there was like a panel there to cover it or something, but there isn't, so that is another complaint of mine. But overall, the jet mode looks pretty cool. Definitely an interesting looking jet, but actually looks pretty cool. Love the colors. Which is another compliment of this figure. It's actually very simple in design. It's really just orange and gray. Not a ton of detail in design, which is definitely different from the new modern day jhiaxus. There is going to be a ton of sculpting and detailing in there, which is pretty different from this one. Honestly, I don't count that as a negative. I actually do like the simplicity with this figure. It actually looks pretty cool. So let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. I really hope you enjoyed this review. Which jhiaxus do you like more? This older Thrilling 30s Generations figure, or do you like the new jhiaxus, of course, based on reviews and pictures? Or if you have it, congrats, you have it. Let me know what you think of these two jhiaxus figures in the comment section down below. Of course, I will get the new Legacy jhiaxus pretty soon, and I will review that over on the channel, and I will make sure to, of course, compare this figure with that one, and I'll give you my thoughts, which one I like more. I'm probably assuming I will like the modern day one more. Typically, the second version of a figure, when it's the modern release, I do typically like it more, but of course, I could be surprised. I could still like this one better. Who knows? I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time.